Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyze the astrological charts of public figures, and very often they are celebrities, royalty, or in this case today, artistes. And that will be a young lady by the name of Chappell Roan. So I've had a few people request this over the last few weeks, both on my Instagram. Please follow me if you're not on there. I am very active on there. And also you guys in the comments. And I had no idea who she was. Everybody was just saying her name. And then I've heard a couple of her songs. She's very good. I don't know much about her. The only thing I know is that she is queer. So she has become a bit of an LGBTQ icon. And she was dropped by her label at one point, and then she got back in the game. She was a songwriter for a while. But I don't really know that much about her at all. It's just that's it. That's all I know. So this is a semi-blind reading today. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to do the best I can to understand her psychology, her motivations, why she has the aesthetic that she does, and why she is potentially going through a very hard time right now. I did see she was at Lollapalooza recently, such a big event. Apparently it was the biggest crowd that's ever been at Lollapalooza for a single artist. And I did see footage of her at some festival or a performance, and she literally cried and apologized to her audience for not delivering. Poor dear. It was received very well. She seems very authentic. So yeah, I'm gonna look at her chart today. Before I do, just want you to know I do 15-minute MP3 readings. So if you would like me to tear apart your chart the way I do these celebrities, it's a great way to support me. You can book that below. And then I also have my members. I'm heading to Japan in a few hours. That's why I'm dressed very shabby chic today. And I'm just catching up on my recordings. But I will be with my assistant Sarah, and we're going to be doing some lives, and we're going to be putting up some members content very, very soon. So it's a great way to support me, and thank you so much. Oh, and I do have 5-minute focus readings as well, and astrocartography readings. They're all linked below. You'll see them. Click on the links. All right, let's do it. So Chappell Roan. So as you can see, Libra rising, and then she is a Pisces sun with Mercury, Jupiter, and Mars. So she's got a stellium there. A moon Pluto conjunction in Sagittarius. And then she's also, this is interesting. She's also got her chart ruler, Venus, at 22 degrees, and her rising is at 22 degrees. I don't have a Rodin rating on astro.com. I had to create this chart myself. Using all the information that's available online. Apparently she was born at 10 something. I use that. If her chart changes, I'll amend the chart. But I'm gonna read this like it's truth. Okay, so from what I can see, she was a misfit, and wherever she grew up, it doesn't look like the most stable of childhoods. I think that I don't know, okay? I'm just reading the chart, but it seems like she grew up in a very creative space. So because her chart ruler is on her IC, creativity must run through the lineage, must run through the family. And I don't want to suggest that her family didn't love her or didn't raise her properly. I don't want to say that, but it does seem difficult because she also has Neptune in an out of sign conjunction with the IC. So why is the home flooded? And sometimes that can be taken literally, right? Like some people have Neptune in the 4th, their houses have the pipes burst and the house is flooded, or Hurricane Katrina stuff. These 4th house malefics do not feel comfortable at all. I will say though, the thing that makes her suffer and the thing that makes her uncomfortable is the very thing that makes her creative, because she actually has her 5th house cusp lying in Aquarius. So I could argue, if we were doing equal houses, I could argue that her Neptune and her Uranus play into that 5th house. So just there's nothing else she could have done but be a creative. She doesn't know how to do anything else but be a songwriter, a singer, an artist. This is supported even more so by this 5th/6th house Pisces stellium, it's really, really difficult to have a very practical house like the 6th house, because 6th house is like bills and routines and that you know, that really practical, the small things in life, right? That's what the 6th house is. The Virgo house. To have that in Pisces, the it's in the sign of its opposite energy, right? It's got the sign of drunkenness and delusion. Like, the 6th house is in the sign of drunkenness and delusion, and then it's got the sun, and then Mercury, Jupiter, Mars. Just someone that might be quite impulsive, someone that lacks control, someone that absolutely needs to have a creative outlet. Like, if I was a teacher again and I was looking at the charts of these kids, I'd be like, listen, you should definitely put this kid into choir, art classes. Like, they need something to, they need to have an outlet for all this creative energy. It's just super sensitive. And then if you look at all these squares. She really does suffer. What happened? Listen, I don't want to. I don't like to, because I just don't like to say too much. But because sometimes it's like really triggering for people. But a Moon Pluto conjunction and Neptune in a conjunction with the IC, something's up with the women, the mothers in her family. There's some kind of trauma. There's abuse, or there's addiction, or there's and it can be like an abusive mother figure, or a mother figure that is abused, and it can go both ways. There's something deeply unpleasant in the home. Oh, that's why this is so difficult. This square is so difficult. There's like a fight in the house. Mum and dad stuff. Are the mum and dad not together? Because the sun can also represent the father. The moon represents the mother. The mother looks incredibly unhappy. The moon-Pluto conjunction could also be someone that has trouble regulating their feelings in a healthy manner. It's really nicely aspected to Saturn, though. So I think for her, writing songs, making music, drawing, like creative things, as she can monetize that. I think she's always been able to monetize that, but that doesn't make it easy. She's got a lot of personal struggles here. Does anybody know what's going on with her? Please put in the comments below, because I'm only like, I'm literally reading this half blind. I don't know what's going on with her. She's just really good at monetizing her creativity. Whatever she would have done, she would have been great at. I'm also wondering if she will change. Like, I think she'll stay a musician, but I'm also wondering if she'll be doing other things outside of music, like other creative ventures in the future when she's older, just because she's just got so much energy here. The only placement she really has that is solid, has a solid boundary, is her Venus, because she's got an Earth Venus, and it's at 22 degrees. So she's had a lot of disappointments in love. Like, she's got a lot of learning and growing to do in regards to how she loves herself, how she loves others. I think whoever she's been in a relationship with really thought she was some meek, mild pushover to some degree. But she's a 22 degree. Like, that's the kill or be killed, right? Like, people think you're weak and then you'll kill them. It's a bit of an assassin energy. And she does it through aesthetic. She does it through art, because Venus governs aesthetic and art. She's a deeply private, introverted person, as chaotic as she can be, as creative as she can be, as loud as she looks. The only reason why she wears the outfit she does is to protect herself. It's her layer of armor. She's so sensitive and shy. And the shyer the person, the more outrageous the costume. The harder the shell, the softer the innards. And her rising is at 22 degrees, so that's an extreme look. Even though you'd think that having a Libra rising would be very soft and very feminine, it's that 22 degree that makes it quite extreme. Like it's bordering on like a clown assassin, her look, right? And I mean that in the most positive way, because she makes it look fantastic. It looks really, really good. Her disappointing love life is it's really it's I mean, it's good for money. The conjunction with part of fortune, literally fortune, right? It's an abundant aspect placement in the chart. It's right next to that Venus, and it is in Capricorn, which is a money sign. So even though Saturn does govern Capricorn, is squaring off with that Venus, she's going to have a lot of disapproval around the people that she falls in love with, especially early on. I think now that she's famous, she'll feel a little bit more free to be experimental, or to be, just to be free with who she loves and who she enjoys, who she keeps her company. I think she's gonna find more acceptance as she becomes more famous. People aren't gonna be angry with her because she's dating a woman, if she decides to do that. But very early on, I can just see her hiding, potentially, not enjoying it, but feeling like she had to hide her romance, either because she was afraid of the consequences of the disapproval of the adults or the structures around her. Did she come from like a small town, like a small religious town? Is that what this is? Is that what that square is? I don't know where she comes from. But it just seems like the elders in the town, are just they're not in favor of her choices in terms of her love life, in terms of her aesthetic either. Because Venus is like your heart. Venus is your values. So if that's clashing with Saturn, if that's squaring off with Saturn, then any kind of like your aesthetic and expressing yourself is not, and who you love is not going to be approved of. She does have a nice, very nice aspect with Mars and Venus. So if she can break out of her small town, she's going to be quite popular, quite charming. Even though she's quite introverted, if she can put on the right costume and be brave and get up there, and you get on that fifth house stage and channel that, she can channel her authenticity. She's very likable. Maybe not by the elders in her hometown, not by these mofos, but the awkward people, all the weirdos, all the freaks that understand what it's like to not be accepted. She's a woman of the people, completely, totally. And at some point, because she does have kind of what Britney Spears has, is that midheaven in Cancer, she will become mother. When she gets older, this is a very nice midheaven for someone to grow old into. At an early stage, a Cancer midheaven can be quite sweet, very girl next door. And when a Cancer midheaven diverts from that sweetness, a la Britney Spears, it can be perceived as crazy or a betrayal, or, it's just not looked upon favorably. The ruler of it is the moon, so it's in Sagittarius. It's not really aspecting, is it? But that also contributes to her intense aesthetic. The ruler of the midheaven is in a conjunction with Pluto. So we're going to see her transform a lot. I think right now, the reason why her look is so extreme, and I really like it, by the way, I really do like her aesthetic. I do think she's going to evolve a lot as she becomes more comfortable. Pluto does that. It's literally the planet of transformation and death. This version of herself she'll eventually kill when she moves into her Saturn return, which will be, she'll get a taste of it in May to September. You guys, with Saturn in Aries, you'll get a taste of it from May to September next year, but full swing, you'll be in the thick of it in February 2026. That will be an interesting period. Potentially a second album will come out. And artists that have their second album, artists that release an album during their Saturn returns, that is the defining album. Look at any artist. Look at Mariah Carey, right? Look at Look at Ariana Grande. I think that album, I feel like people are sleeping on it. I think that's like her greatest work of art. Like, that's a great album, Eternal Sunshine. Look at Adele. Look at, there's just so many. They always put out that defining album when they go through their Saturn return. So it'll be interesting to see how her aesthetic changes. Now, I haven't put the transits up on here at the moment, but the North Node is in Aries, so it's tickling her Saturn. It's been tickling her Saturn for the last year. Not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun. And she's got her North Node in Virgo. Interesting. So she's currently going through a pretty difficult transit. The North Node's tickling that Saturn, and then it's going to make its way through Pisces starting January 12th next year. And Saturn's currently going through this Pisces stellium. So the Pisces right now, they're getting it. They're getting a lot of success, or they're getting a lot of karma if they've been acting badly. If you have Pisces placements and you've been very, very naughty, you are going to have to pay for that. And Pisces is the sign of no restrictions, and Saturn will place restrictions on you. Now, in her case, she has been rewarded for many, many years of discipline and hard work and creativity. She's finally getting her flowers, and it's happening so, so quickly. She spent all this time working away, and now all of a sudden, the last year, she's just been very overwhelmed. Saturn is slapping her about, and it's not fun at all. And she's got another year and a half of this. So learning experience, huh? It's a really, really tough learning experience. My heart goes out to all the Pisces people that are doing the best they can and have always done the best they can, because you're getting that money, right? You're earning that money. You're getting that success that you've always wanted, and you're having a horrible time dealing with it. Sometimes I think it's easier for a Pisces to be homeless than to be successful, because, in a state of, say, some kind of homelessness, or in the flood, that Neptunian flood, you can let go. But when you have to deal with success, you're restricted. Yeah. So she's going to be fine. She is going to be fine. She's going to get more quiet as she gets older. I think she would do well to keep her private life private. She has to be one of those artists. There's not going to be any need for her to do a lot of interviews. She's always going to be, she's kind of born to be iconic, actually. That midheaven at 25 degrees in Cancer does actually form a trine with her Mars. So her sexuality is a big part of her look, even though it's quite wholesome and very sweet. If you've got aspects with Mars, then sexuality is going to play a part in that. Chiron is in it. Oh, it's actually a grand water trine. Chiron 18 degrees. Oh, she might have some money wounds, actually. Sex wounds and money wounds, because Scorpio is both of those things, and it's playing out in her second house. She needs to get a good accountant, this girl. She needs to get a good accountant, or she'll make a lot of money, but she could also spend a lot of it. She might not be good at managing money. I feel like she really needs to figure that out. The North Node in Virgo, she got to get sober. I'm wondering if she is numbing herself with substances, or, it could even be sex. It depends. Pick your drug, right? She might be numbing herself, especially during her nodal opposition, which is never fun. When you're like 27, 28, you go through this thing called your nodal opposition, roughly at the same time or just before your Saturn return. It's awful, because even though you're approaching 30, you're still young, but you're approaching 30, and you feel like you've done the things that you want to do, and you're like, is that all there is? And there's a bit of like a mental health crisis. It's like a proper quarter life crisis. She's having a quarter life crisis now. It's going to get worse for her. It doesn't mean anything bad's going to happen. It's more of a state of being stuck in the mud, right? It's all that feeling that you're stuck in the mud. And it's a state where you've got to kind of regress and look back in order to look forward. That's what a nodal opposition is about. It's like this part of your life where you regress or you stand still, and you've got to figure out which road to take, but you need to take your time making the choice. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting period for her. But eventually, I mean, North Node in Virgo, I know there's nothing on it. I know that if there's nothing on it, apparently it doesn't mean anything or whatever. But she'll just continue on becoming more and more famous. I do think that she needs to get sober, because if she doesn't, she could hurt herself. I don't know what she's into. I'm just saying there is a risk of her doing some like self-destructive things, especially if she's having a hard time with her success. When people have a hard time with success, they will do things to damage their success. Like they will do, like they just don't know how to handle it. So I really hope that she has a really, really good support system, because as people get more and more famous, their circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and they can't trust people. So yeah, but I really enjoy her. I really do think that, you know, she wants to have a stable love life. She wants someone solid. I think with this placement, she would do well in a long-term relationship with someone who doesn't care for fame, doesn't want it, someone that is really like low-key, so that she can stand on a stage and be an icon and shine. Like she could be like a Dolly Parton kind of situation. Obviously not with a man if she's gay, but she needs someone that's just really low-key, happy for her success, and can step aside and doesn't want to be on red carpets with her potentially. Because if her love life is public, it destroys it. She needs to keep it private. She's got a private Venus, guys. The Venus is at the bottom of the chart. Her relationships go well. They do better when they're hidden. So, you know, if you've got some Chappell Roan fans out there, don't pressure her to, you know, and don't pressure her to show her girlfriends, or just let her be. Let her be. Let her consume the art. I don't think she'd be able to handle having a public romance, say like, you know, a la Taylor Swift. I don't think Okay, anyway, that's all I have for now. Yeah, she seems so sweet. I really enjoy Libra risings. I think they're one of the prettiest rising signs. I think they're so kind, so sweet. And I know she's got this extreme aesthetic. It's that 22 degrees. It's that 22 degrees rising and the ruler at 22 degrees. Very extreme. I think it will soften over time. But she seems like a real sweet person. And I do like that she has a mix of all elements. I know she's got a lot of trouble. I know there's some like kind of family wound here. But her chart is actually quite balanced. She's got a lot of water. She's got a strong earth placement, a strong fire placement, and a strong air placement. She does amazing things with her experiences, with her trauma, because she's a creative. She's a genius. Chappell Roan is a genius. I've only heard like 1 or maybe 2 songs, 1.5 songs, but she's a genius. And I wish her the best. What is that? What's going on with her family? Does anybody know? Put in the comments. The women in her family are traumatized. Like generation after generation after generation. Like there's like trauma here. So I don't know if you guys know that. Maybe we'll find out one day. But that's hereditary. That's a trauma that like lingers, and then it like spills over into other generations. So I'm wondering. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Thank you so much. And yeah, maybe I'll see some of you in Tokyo. Hit me up. Instagram. I'm good with that. Okay. Bye.